All right, so let's dive into this. We're prepping for a travel and tourism vocational teacher interview, and we've got some awesome resources from RoleCatcher to help us out.
Yeah.
Their career guide, their interview guide, and even their AI tool, which we'll get into a little later.
Sounds like we're totally set to help our listeners crush this interview.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to unpack some real interview questions, give some insider tips on how to approach them, and of course, we'll sprinkle in some key insights from those RoleCatcher guides. So let's jump right in. Imagine you're sitting across from the interview panel, and they hit you with this classic. What inspired you to pursue a career in travel and tourism vocational education? What's your go-to strategy for this one?
Well, everyone can say they love to travel, but interviewers are looking for something deeper, something that really sets you apart.
So how do you make your answer stand out?
I'd say think about a specific moment, a trip, an experience, even a person that ignited your passion for this field.
So personal story with a bit of an aha moment.
Exactly, and then connect that passion back to teaching. How did that experience make you want to share that same excitement and wonder with others?
That makes a lot of sense. Show them you're not just here for a job. You're here to inspire the next generation of travel enthusiasts.
Right. Now, another common question you'll probably encounter is, how do you stay current in such a fast-paced industry?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Absolutely. Interviewers want to see that you're committed to continuous learning.
So what's the best way to show them you're on top of your game?
Be prepared to talk about specific resources you use to stay updated. Things like industry publications, websites, blogs, conferences, even social media accounts.
So I could say, I subscribe to Travel Plus Leisure, or I follow these 5 amazing travel bloggers.
Even better, try to tie those resources back to your teaching. Maybe you read a fascinating article on sustainable tourism that sparked an idea for a lesson plan. That shows you're already thinking like a teacher.
It's like you're saying, I'm not just staying informed, I'm actively applying what I learn.
Exactly. Now let's talk about technology. RoleCatcher's guide emphasizes the importance of tech skills in travel and tourism education.
So interviewers are going to want to know how comfortable you are with using technology in the classroom.
Right, so think beyond just PowerPoint. Have you experimented with interactive maps, virtual tours, language learning apps?
Ooh, those are great examples.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI tool can come in handy.
Oh yeah, tell me more about that.
Their AI is pretty amazing, actually. You can actually input the specific job description into the tool, and it will analyze it and suggest relevant tech skills or tools that you might want to mention.
So it's like having an extra set of eyes on your prep, making sure you don't miss any key details.
Exactly. Okay, now let's move on to something a little more philosophical. Teaching philosophy.
Yeah, that one can feel a bit daunting.
I know it can seem intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. When they ask about your teaching philosophy, they're really just trying to get a sense of your core values as an educator.
So what are some key things to keep in mind when crafting your answer?
Think about what you prioritize as a teacher. Do you believe in hands-on learning? Collaboration. Fostering a global mindset. Identify those core values and be prepared to articulate them clearly.
And how do you make sure your philosophy aligns with the school's values?
That's a great question. Before the interview, do your research. Check out their website. Read their mission statement. Look for clues about their approach to education. And then when you articulate your philosophy, connect it back to what you've learned about their school.
So it's not just about having a philosophy, it's about showing that you've thought about how you'd fit into their specific environment.
Exactly. Okay, now let's move on to assessment.
Yes, the practical side of teaching.
When asked about evaluating student learning, be sure to showcase your creativity and think beyond traditional tests and quizzes.
So what are some alternative assessment methods that might impress the interview panel?
Think about things like project-based learning, presentations, maybe even travel blog simulations. These methods allow students to demonstrate their understanding in more engaging and authentic ways.
And it also shows that you're not just about rote memorization, you're about helping students apply their knowledge.
Exactly. And remember, a travel and tourism classroom is likely to have a diverse group of students with different learning styles and needs.
Speaking of diversity, that brings us to another common interview question. How do you handle students with diverse learning needs?
Yes, this is a crucial one. Interviewers want to see that you're committed to creating an inclusive and supportive learning environment for all students.
So what are some key points to hit when answering this question?
First, familiarize yourself with the concept of universal design for learning.
I've heard of that, but could you explain it a bit?
Basically, it's a framework for creating learning experiences that are accessible to everyone regardless of their abilities or backgrounds.
So it's not just about accommodating students with disabilities. It's about making the classroom welcoming and engaging for all learners.
Precisely. You can mention things like incorporating visual aids for visual learners,
Hmm.
providing audio recordings for auditory learners, or breaking down tasks into smaller steps for those who need extra support.
Those are great examples.
Okay, now even with the best laid plans, classrooms can sometimes get a bit chaotic.
Oh yeah, that's the reality of teaching.
So how would you handle a difficult student situation?
Ah, yes, the dreaded classroom management question.
It's not so much about having a strict set of rules, it's more about demonstrating empathy and communication skills.
So instead of jumping straight to discipline, you'd first try to understand the student's perspective.
Exactly. Are they struggling with the material? Are they facing challenges outside of school? Once you understand the root of the problem, you can start to address it in a way that supports both the student and the overall classroom environment.
So it's about finding solutions, not just punishments.
Right. You could mention active listening techniques, setting clear expectations, or even involving a guidance counselor if needed.
That shows you're focused on creating a positive and supportive learning environment.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about keeping students engaged and excited about learning.
Yes, that's the fun part.
Interviewers will definitely be looking for that spark when they ask you about fostering student engagement.
So how do you show them that you're not just going to lecture at students, you're going to bring the subject matter to life?
This is where your own passion for travel and tourism really comes into play.
So tap into your own enthusiasm for the subject and let that shine through in your teaching.
Exactly. And then think about concrete ways to make learning interactive and engaging. Maybe you use games to teach geography, or you invite guest speakers from the travel industry to share their experiences.
Those are great ideas. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI tool can be super helpful.
Oh, yeah, definitely. By analyzing the job description, their AI can suggest specific skills or activities that might align with the school's priorities.
So you can tailor your answers to their specific needs and demonstrate that you've really done your research.
Exactly. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel during the interview.
Okay. So we've talked about teaching philosophy assessment, classroom management, student engagement. What else do we need to cover before wrapping up this part of our deep dive?
Well, collaboration is a big one in any educational setting.
So how do you show interviewers that you're a team player who's ready to work effectively with colleagues and industry partners?
Think about past experiences where you've collaborated successfully with others. Maybe you worked with a fellow teacher on a cross-curricular project, or you partnered with a local travel agency to offer students real-world insights.
Those are great examples.
And again, before the interview, research the school's website or social media. Are they involved in any community partnerships? Do they have a strong emphasis on certain skills or values? Tailor your examples to align with what you discover.
So show them you're already thinking about how you'd fit into their existing ecosystem.
Exactly. And this leads us perfectly into the next big question. How do you ensure that your teaching aligns with the institution's mission and values?
Okay, so this is the big picture question.
Right. It's a chance for you to connect all the dots.
Yeah.
You've already talked about your teaching philosophy, your assessment methods, your approach to diversity and engagement. Now tie it all together and show how all these pieces fit into the school's overall goals.
So it's like the grand finale of the interview where you demonstrate how all your skills and experience align with their vision.
Exactly. You could even mention specific programs or initiatives they offer and explain how you could contribute to their success.
I love that strategy. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've explored some key interview questions. We've talked about the importance of research and preparation. And we've even touched on the power of RoleCatcher's AI tool.
And in the next part, we'll delve even deeper into that AI tool and how it can help you fine-tune your answers and make a lasting impression on the interview panel.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome back to our deep dive, where we're helping you prep for that travel and tourism vocational teacher interview.
And we're really excited to dig deeper into this AI tool from RoleCatcher because it sounds like a total game changer.
Oh, it definitely is. It takes interview prep to a whole new level.
So how does it work?
Well, let's say you've written out your answer to that classic question. Why are you passionate about travel and tourism education?
You've poured your heart and soul into it. But how do you know if it's hitting the right notes for the specific school you're interviewing at?
Exactly. Each school has their own unique values and priorities, and that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
You literally copy and paste the job description into the tool,
Oh, wow.
and their AI analyzes it like a detective.
Looking for clues.
Exactly. It identifies keywords, skills, even those subtle hints about the school's culture and what they're looking for in a candidate.
So it's like having a secret decoder ring for the job description.
I like that analogy. And here's the best part. The AI then compares your answer to its analysis of the job description, and it gives you personalized feedback.
Oh, wow. So it might say something like, hey, you nailed the passion part, but this school is really big on sustainability.
Yeah.
You might want to add an example about how you'd incorporate ecotourism principles into your lessons.
Exactly. It's like having a personal interview coach who knows the school inside and out, giving you tips on how to make your answers truly resonate.
That's incredible, especially because when you're nervous, it's easy to forget even the most carefully prepared points.
And speaking of nerves, the AI can help with that too.
Really?
Tell me more.
Remember how we talked about the importance of doing video rehearsals of your answers?
Yeah, recording yourself can be a bit awkward, but it's so helpful to see how you come across.
Absolutely. Well, RoleCatcher's AI takes video rehearsals to the next level. You record your responses, and their AI analyzes not just the content of what you're saying, but also your delivery, your tone, even your body language.
Wow. So it's like having a virtual interview coach who can tell you if you're talking too fast or if you're not making enough eye contact.
Exactly. It's amazing how much those nonverbal cues can impact an interview. This AI tool sounds like a game changer for anyone prepping for a big interview.
Oh, it absolutely is. And it's not just about helping you say the right things. It's about helping you present yourself in the best possible light.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about portfolios. Because for a teaching position, a portfolio is essential.
Oh, absolutely. It's a chance to showcase your skills and creativity beyond what you can fit on a resume.
So what are some must-have elements for a travel and tourism vocational teacher portfolio?
Well, I'd say start with some well-structured lesson plans, ones that really demonstrate your teaching style and your ability to create engaging learning experiences.
And I imagine those lesson plans should align with the type of school you're applying to.
Exactly. If they're a tech-heavy school, highlight a lesson plan that incorporates digital tools or virtual field trips. If they emphasize project-based learning, showcase a lesson plan that involves hands-on activities or simulations.
So it's all about tailoring your portfolio to their specific needs.
Right. And don't just include lesson plans, add in examples of student work that show the impact of your teaching.
Like a standout project, or maybe a travel blog that demonstrates a student's deep understanding of a particular destination.
Exactly. Those real-world examples really bring your teaching to life.
And what about those student success stories we talked about earlier?
Oh, those are gold. Share stories about students who excelled in your class or who went on to pursue careers in the travel industry because of your guidance.
Those stories really highlight your impact as an educator.
And of course, make sure to include any relevant certifications, like your CTA or CTC.
Those definitely add credibility. Speaking of professional development, let's talk about those career stages.
Okay, so as you progress in your career as a travel and tourism vocational teacher, your responsibilities will naturally evolve.
So what might those different stages look like?
Well, in the beginning, you might focus on assisting senior teachers, developing lesson plans, and providing individual student support.
And as you gain experience.
You'll take on more ownership of delivering instruction, assessing student performance, and contributing to curriculum development.
And eventually you might even step into leadership roles.
Absolutely. You could mentor junior teachers, lead departmental initiatives, even collaborate with industry partners to create new programs.
So it's a career path with lots of room for growth and impact.
Definitely. And remember, continuous learning is essential throughout your career.
So attend conferences,
Mm-hmm.
earn additional certifications, even consider pursuing an advanced degree.
All great ideas. The travel industry is constantly evolving, so it's important to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, before we move on, I want to touch on RoleCatcher's AI tool one more time, because I'm curious how it can help with those tricky portfolio-related questions that might pop up during the interview.
It can be super helpful for that.
Like when they ask, tell us about a time you had to get creative to engage your students.
Exactly. Their AI can analyze the job description and identify the specific skills or experiences that the school is looking for, which can guide you in choosing the most relevant portfolio examples to share.
So instead of just hoping you have something that fits, you're using the AI to strategically select examples that will really resonate with the interviewers.
Exactly. It's about making sure your portfolio tells a compelling story, a story that highlights your strengths and how you align with their school's values.
It sounds like that AI tool can be a real asset throughout the entire interview process.
It definitely can.
Well, I'm feeling much more confident about tackling both the interview and the portfolio now. What else should we cover before wrapping up this deep dive?
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive, getting ready for that travel and tourism vocational teacher interview.
We've talked about nailing those tough questions, building a stellar portfolio, and even leveraging the power of AI.
But before we send you off to wow that interview panel, let's talk about those finishing touches.
Yes, those little things that can make a big difference.
Like what? Well, first and foremost, let your enthusiasm shine through.
Ah, yes, that genuine passion for travel and tourism.
Exactly. Interviewers want to see that spark.
That you're not just going through the motions, that you're truly excited about this field.
And remember to connect that passion to the school itself.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Like mentioning specific programs or initiatives that you find particularly interesting.
Exactly. It shows you've done your research and you're already thinking about how you'd fit into their unique environment.
Now, another tip I've always found helpful is to ask thoughtful questions.
Oh, yes. Asking questions is so important.
It shows that you're engaged and curious, and it gives you a chance to learn more about the school and the role.
You could ask about their vision for the travel and tourism program, their professional development opportunities, or even just the day-to-day realities of the job.
It's a chance to gather valuable information and make sure it's a good fit for both of you.
Now, another powerful tool is storytelling.
Stories are so engaging.
Instead of just listing your skills, weave them into anecdotes that bring your experience to life.
Like a time when you helped a struggling student succeed. Or maybe a time when you went above and beyond to create a memorable learning experience.
Those stories make you more relatable and memorable.
They help the interviewers see you as a real person, not just a name on a resume.
And speaking of making a lasting impression, don't forget to follow up after the interview.
Oh yes, a thank you note is a must.
It's a simple but powerful way to express your gratitude and reiterate your interest in the position.
You can even use the thank you note to address any points you might have missed during the interview.
Or to highlight something specific that resonated with you.
It's that extra touch that shows you're truly invested. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. From interview questions, to portfolio tips, to the amazing power of AI.
You're now armed with a toolkit of strategies to help you rock that interview.
Remember, be confident, be yourself, and let your passion shine through.
And don't forget the incredible rewards of being a travel and tourism vocational teacher, the joy of sharing your love of travel with the next generation, and the satisfaction of helping your students discover the world and all its wonders.
Let's go out there and make a difference. We're rooting for you.